You are in your rookie draft and are desperate for the quarterback of the future. The only problem is Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams are already off the board. The two in front of you are Drake Maye and JJ McCarthy. The question is, which one is the quarterback you need to select? The Fantasy Football Universe has the answer. This is so weird. It's my first time in a completely new room, new setup, new laptop. Everything's set up here, so we're going to have to fine-tune some of it. I got a bit of an echo. We'll hopefully have that solved for next time, but we'll see how it goes. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Universe, everyone. Today we're continuing on with the 2024 Rookie Faceoff series. Today we've got the second tier of quarterbacks, Drake Maye versus JJ McCarthy. I am Aaron St. Dennis. You can find me on social media at FFMadScientist, joined by Jeremy Showman at FF_Rebel and Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. This one didn't go how I thought it would be. I wrote this one. If you want to see the full write-up, I believe it drops next week. These videos drop before the articles. Head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com or check out the rest of these series, the videos anyways, on YouTube or any of our social media at the FF Universe. I guess we'll get into it. Drake Maye selected third by the New England Patriots, despite the fact that I typed fifth third. Alrighty. Apparently, English isn't my first language. Selected third by the Patriots after spending his collegiate career with the North Carolina Tar Heels. Polarizing prospect. I think that's how you could describe both of these guys. 21.8 years old, had a breakout age of 20, which is 76th percentile. Big, strong, prototypical quarterback. That's exactly what you'd like to see, although he's got some concerns because of some decision-making and overall inconsistencies. Head coach of the Patriots, Gerard Mayo, says he will be competing with veteran Jacoby Brissett to start the season as their starting quarterback. I'm pretty sure this is just coach speak. You don't draft a quarterback third overall to let Jacoby Brissett start in front of him. On the other hand, we have JJ McCarthy, who is your mystery box of fantasy football quarterbacks. Won a national championship with Michigan last year. Proven track record of being a winner. However, due to Michigan's offense being pretty much 90% run, we never really got to see what JJ was fully capable of, especially with regard to actually throwing the ball. Could be a top 5 quarterback in the future or a career backup. That's kind of the issue here with McCarthy. Nobody really knows. 21.3 years old, has a lot of inexperience, obviously ran in a sheltered offense. Awesome 3-cone drill, which shows how great his agility is. He was 93rd percentile at the combine. And like Drake Maye, he had an early breakout age, slightly better at 19.6 years old, 80th percentile. The 2-player comps I got are not great. And the first one, you're going to accuse me of helmet scouting. I know. But for Drake Maye, my closest comp was New England Patriots former quarterback, Mac Jones. Where is he now? Jacksonville? Yes?
Yep.
And for JJ McCarthy, I got Arizona quarterback Clayton Tune. So Mac Jones, Clayton Tune. What do you guys have to say here? What are your comps?
I think they're both far more athletic than those two individuals, so it's kind of hard for me to do that. The way Maye plays a lot reminds me of Josh Allen, and he's not as big as Josh Allen, but he's pretty athletic too. So that's the easy give me comp when you watch him play, because the people will say he's a wild horse quarterback. So that one just stands out to me. And then
I'm glad though. I'm glad you aimed that high. I don't think we think he's Josh Allen, but my original comp for him, I had to change to Mac Jones because I thought people were going to think I was insane. My original comp was Ben Roethlisberger. But we're not doing that. So I changed it.
I mean, it's similar play style and it makes sense, right? It's just, you're just asking for the high end range of outcomes for that type of player. But play style wise, he plays like those guys where he's reckless. He'll take those throws. He's willing to risk his body and make the throw. So, I'm fine with those comps. It's just, when we talk about play style, it's a little different. We're not saying he's Ben Roethlisberger or he is Josh Allen, but that's just kind of how he plays. So, yeah. And then McCarthy, I'm more along the lines of Alex Smith type player. That's more kind of how I view him. So, that's kind of the range of outcomes for both guys for me.
How about you, Jeremy?
Drake Maye, I feel like is a little bit of a wild card just because he's got all the tools and we're not totally sure how they're going to develop. It feels like early Josh Allen, right? We already mentioned that. Just because it could develop into what Josh Allen is now, it could go completely the other way and fall off the rails. And we've seen that happen many times in the NFL. So I'm not ready to comp him to Josh Allen, but he feels like the wild card to me. For JJ McCarthy, he feels a lot safer. He has the ability to kind of develop. He feels kind of like a Brock Purdy, even like a Ryan Tannehill type, where he's got the accuracy. Problem is we haven't seen it super consistently with him. So yeah, I don't mind a Brock Purdy comp. More accuracy than big arm talent, able to kind of maneuver around and escape the pocket. But yeah, for me, Drake Maye, I'm not sure. JJ feels a little bit more like I know who he is, even though we haven't seen it totally.
To be fair, though, both early Josh Allen and current Josh Allen always threatens to go off the rails. So that's not necessarily, we don't want to comp him to Drake or to Josh Allen because, he goes off the rails. But, well, so does Josh Allen. So. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. I guess the size comparison is our first checkbox here. Maye is 6'4", 223 pounds. JJ 6'2", 219. So both are decent-sized quarterbacks. Maye, as I said before, gives you more of that Josh Allen, Ben Roethlisberger, prototypical style of big, beefy quarterback you want. So this one for me went to Drake Maye. Although, like I said, JJ, it's certainly not a knock on him. It's just Drake Maye's bigger and stronger. Thoughts?
Yeah, I thought McCarthy was going to come in smaller than he weighed. So when we checked him at 219, it was like, all right, I'm unlike Daniels. He seems slimmer than Maye. Like, it's just, you watch him, you're like, they don't seem like they're the same size, but they're relatively close. So yeah, unlike Daniels, who's like paper thin, right? So yeah, I don't have much of a difference between size. It's just a slight bonus to Maye just because he looks bigger on top of it.
Yep, I think with Daniels, we've seen him. With what am I talking about? Daniels with Maye, Drake. D's, I don't know. We saw him kind of run around like there. We know he's comfortable with his body maneuvering in the open field. JJ maybe a little bit less so. Again, in terms of what we've seen. So for me, I agree. Drake gets the slight bump there just because he's maybe more able to take a hit.
Speed comparison. I have this one listed as the one and only tie in any of ours because they are both technically a 4.6. The difference is JJ actually ran a 4.6 at the combine. Drake Maye is a 4.6, but it's from a previous college day. Now, it wasn't his pro day, but it was a previous measurement. So we think they're both a 4.6, but if you're looking to be safer here, I think JJ looks and plays faster. So I would give it to JJ, but like I said, theoretically, they're the same speed here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I was wondering what player profiler got these numbers from because they both have them in the 4.5s, like really good speed scores and stuff like that. But you look at the RAS scores and it's nothing. McCarthy did the short air, like the short shuttle. He was great. So you're like, the speed translates for him. So I would defer to him. But yeah, they're both athletic. And I'm really, it's like you said, it's a tie for me.
Yeah, I'll go with the tie as well. I mean, 4.6 seems like wishful thinking. They might be in the 4.7, 4.8 range play speed, but these guys don't need to be like incredibly fast. They're getting they're finding the open holes and they're just running straight through them. So I'm not so concerned about it. They're fast enough is really what matters.
I don't remember ever seeing JJ McCarthy run. I can picture him scrambling outside, but every time he does, it's always a throw on the run to his right, and he just chucks it. I can't ever remember seeing him run in all the games I've watched, but I'm sure he can run. It's just not really a strength of his game. Next up, we have arm accuracy and arm strength. This one was a decisive win for Drake Maye. These are just my grades. You guys may have them graded out differently. I had him 83 in the short, 92 intermediate, 91 deep for an overall of 89. JJ, I gave 79 short, 90 intermediate, 91 deep for an 87. So I thought JJ had a good arm pretty much across the board, like a high B, low A talent. But I thought Drake Maye was just slightly better across the board. I think he won all three. Yeah, he did win all three head-to-head there. So actually, sorry, they tied in deep throws. I thought they were both really good deep throwers. But like I said, both really good arms here. I think it was just Drake Maye overall. It's also tougher, too, because there was less of a sample size to base these grades off of for JJ. Drake Maye's out there chucking it all over the place, and JJ's handing it off. So it's hard to grade the arm accuracy on a handoff. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm with you. Interestingly enough, he threw 1 mile per hour lower than Mr. Cannon of an Arm, Joe Milton. He threw like 61 miles an hour.
I did know that. So, yes, he did.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me because it didn't, like, you watch him on tape, you're like, that's a good arm, but it doesn't come off as elite. Where Drake Maye, it comes off a little stronger when you're watching it. So I would defer to him, but I think they both have plus arms to the NFL. So it's slight, I guess you could say, to Maye, and I'll defer to your grading system on that one, but I would be fine going with either guy as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, I would probably defer to Maye, but if you're talking about JJ McCarthy and the arm strength, I mean, we saw it in short, small samples, just whipping the ball into really tight windows. Reminds me, we have an Aaron here broadcasting from an ayahuasca den. JJ McCarthy needs to get with Sam Darnold and talk to his ex-teammate, Aaron, who also spends time in an ayahuasca den, and make sure he gets that arm strength really well done. I thought that was going to go a lot better when I said it in my head. It felt really good. When I said it out loud, didn't work so well. We're just going to back it up and just say Drake Maye.
You confused the shit out of me, I'll tell you that. Maybe you spent a little too much time in the ayahuasca den.
I think I may have.
Yeah, well, that is in Amsterdam. God only knows what you're getting up to these days. So. All right, next up, we've got release and mechanics. This one gets a little bit one-sided here when we're throwing the release point mechanics. Once again, like I said, a lot of JJ's throws. Every time I watched him, he doesn't have a whole lot of designed throws, I guess, which is weird for a guy who's a quarterback. It seems like he was always throwing on the run, but I think they both graded out well above average. For me, I gave Drake Maye an 86 on release, 80 on mechanics overall for a total of 83. JJ, I gave an 82 on his release, so slightly worse, and 80 on his mechanics, so the same, and an 81 overall. So another case where I thought they were both really good, like low A's here. But I just gave it 83 overall to Maye, 81 to McCarthy. So I think it's a case where I think these two deserve to be the QB3 and QB4. They're not in the top tier, the tier of 1 and 2, and I think they're well above 4 and 5. So for me, this one was Maye slightly again, which for you keeping score, that has Maye up 3-0 to 1 because of our one and only tie. But what do you guys think here for release and mechanics?
Yeah, if you want to get into mechanics and you're talking about footwork, it's McCarthy hands down because Maye's footwork gets wild and sloppy, and that's kind of why he has some errant throws. But if we're talking strictly arm, yeah, I think it's a different story. So depending on which part of mechanics we're talking about, like I'll do.
No, you can mix both in mechanics. Yeah. I have overall mechanics.
Yeah, so I'll actually think McCarthy's more sound from like a throwing perspective because Maye gets a little loose and does things that kind of lead to some of the turnovers we saw in Aaron throws. So I'll default to McCarthy, but yeah, like the pinpoint release and stuff like that, I like Maye's throwing style a lot. So I'm slight McCarthy on this one, I guess you say.
Yeah, who did you have? You had Drake Maye. If I need to split the difference, I'll go with Maye only because I think if he is able to make the corrections necessary, he's by far going to have the better mechanics than JJ McCarthy. He's got the tools. He's got it set up. With McCarthy, I think it's going to take more time, but he also has the weapons in place, the system in place where I don't think his mechanics are really going to matter a ton. All he needs to do is make sure he delivers the ball. And, but this one's probably a draw, but why not Drake Maye?
This one is not a draw. College production. Good God. JJ McCarthy played 3 seasons at Michigan. They both played 3 years. In 2 of them, he posted at least 2,500 passing yards, 22 touchdowns with less than 5 interceptions. So he posts on average about half as many interceptions as Maye. McCarthy's best season was 2,991 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Overall, during his collegiate career, he had 6,226 passing yards, 49 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Drake Maye, on the other hand, he had 2 seasons over 3,600 yards. So 1,100 more than JJ's 2 seasons there. 24 touchdowns during those 2 seasons, so 2 more than JJ. But he averaged, like I said, twice as many interceptions. His best season was 4,321 yards as compared to 2,991 for McCarthy, 38 touchdowns as compared to 22 for McCarthy, and 7 interceptions as opposed to 4 for McCarthy. His career total there in the same amount of time basically was 8,000 yards, for an extra 2,000. 63 touchdowns for an extra 14, and 16 interceptions for 5 more. So this one was a landslide to Drake Maye. I know you could say, well, that's because Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum were scoring 4 touchdowns a game, and it's an obvious argument, but really, like I love to use the mystery box argument here, and I do love me some JJ McCarthy, but at the same time, if we're just comparing straight up the numbers here, without qualifying them in any way, this one is Drake Maye, and it's not particularly close, putting him up 4-0 to 1. What do you guys think here?
Yeah, if you want to add some context to these numbers, I can break them down a little bit. I did a little back and forth between two of them. The total pass attempts, it's like 230 something more for Maye over McCarthy. And you look at TD rate, it's McCarthy at 6.87, Maye at 6.61. Career interception rate, McCarthy's 1.54, Maye's 1.68. Touchdown interception rate, McCarthy's 4.45, Maye is 3.93, and then yards per attempt is 9.4 for McCarthy and 9.0 for Maye. So they're very, very close together in those categories, despite the fact that Maye has so many more pass attempts. So like when you take the production and it's a similar range and it just has more attempts, I'm going to default to that guy. So yeah, I would go to Maye for this category.
Yeah, and just one more stat is their QBR is pretty much right in line as well. It's one.
Don't say it. It's the next category.
Well, it barely goes to JJ, but it's basically the same, right? So what we're learning from these stats is the fact that these guys are neck and neck. When you turn on the tape, you see more toolsy athleticism for Maye, but it's really just pick your flavor at this point. I mean, who are we? Well, go to the next category. Why not? Fuck it.
All right. The next category is QBR, as we previously stated. This one is JJ, who gets 89.2 to Drake Maye's 81.0. Both decent QB ratings, but you can really see the difference here. The impact, the turnovers, the inaccuracy due to the high pass volume that came into play here. So this one was McCarthy, who finally got on the board, which is weird because I'm the McCarthy guy, but it is what it is. I can't make the numbers lie to you. So this one's JJ. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's close. It's interesting enough. They're back and forth in PFF grade too. So if you want to throw that in, they're 2023. They were right next to each other. So theoretically, yeah, it's a slight thing for Maye. I will say the one area where McCarthy wins, it's under pressure. He has a better grade and stuff under pressure. So if you want to pick a category for him to win, it's under pressure. But overall, yeah, take Maye.
Yep. And I'm kind of chalking this up to the Josh Downs effect, who was there in North Carolina, who Maye had the opportunity to work with. JJ McCarthy, I'm struggling to think of, outside of Roman Wilson, do we think Roman Wilson is as good as Josh Downs? I mean, in terms of college production, no. Maybe in terms of NFL production, we'll have to see how that eventually plays out. But, Drake Maye did not have the luxury of Josh Downs this year. Instead, he was thrown to Tez Walker, who went in the 4th round. I believe not much else there for him to work with. And we saw his kind of rating decrease each year, while JJ's the team around him went and won a championship. So I think it's a little bit closer than the numbers dictate. But yeah, JJ just seems the part of the more composed and accurate guy.
All right, next up, we will finish it up with landing spot and draft capital. This one, okay, so it's Maye, obviously, for draft capital, kind of. He went 3rd. McCarthy went 10th. They're both top 10 quarterbacks, so I give it to Maye in a slight amount or a slight margin here. But for as far as landing spot goes, I think this one's easily McCarthy. I prefer Vikings here with JJ over anything the Patriots have. New coaching staff. Not a whole lot of weapons. What did you guys think here for landing spot and draft capital?
Yeah, you're splitting the hairs on the two, right? Like the draft capital is obviously better for Maye. And interestingly enough, they had an offer to get a future first to move back one spot with the Giants, right? And then they were just like, nope, we don't even want like the guys available. So that tells you how much more into Maye they were than McCarthy. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah, the situation's a lot better for McCarthy. Like the guys are just supremely talented. I like the Patriots situation. I think it's a lot better, but it's not as good as the Vikings situation, especially when Hawkins has come back and he's healthy. Then you have 3 quality pass catchers on top of that. Good run, like good play. Aaron Jordan's in the backfield. So like it's set up really well for McCarthy's story week 1.
Yeah, agree with this. As a Patriots fan, we're very happy as Patriots fans, everything that New England has done to address the coaching staff and the offensive roster this offseason. And it's much better than it was. but in no way is it Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, all the weapons they have in place there. JJ is just stepping into a prime spot, maybe as good as, maybe a little bit better than the Caleb Williams, what Caleb Williams is stepping into year one. Those guys are set up for success if they can take advantage.
All right, moment of truth. You're on the clock. Is it Drake Maye or JJ McCarthy? Jeremy. We've crossed out so many names I can't even fucking tell what you're writing anymore.
This is going to be a long list.
We're going to start like scrolling up the top. We're going JJ McCarthy. It's again, we're talking about splitting hairs here, but in some recent rookie drafts, I'm taking JJ one spot over Drake Maye. It's just the situation is set up. He's already a national champion. This guy knows how to win. We're assuming that Harbaugh and company had kind of the reins on him. If they, Kevin O'Connell has a guy here that he can mold. I think JJ McCarthy is going to outproduce Drake Maye this year and for a long time going forward. So give me JJ.
Is a fresh sheet of paper too much in your budget, or what's the deal here?
Yeah, man, we're working a bare bones budget.
How many names are going to be on that sheet by the end of the season?
I guess we're going to find out, but we're going to test the limits of that question. That's for sure.
Too funny. Yeah, I had this decision in our dynasty rookie draft where I was at the 106. Both guys were available, and Aaron wanted the pick, and I told him to fuck off because I'm taking my guy here. So I took Maye. I just think he's a better quarterback, and I don't think the situation is as dire as people want to talk about with the Patriots. I think it's a new situation. They got talented players, and they can build together. So I'm just betting on the talent between the two, and I think Maye's a better quarterback. So that's why I'm going Maye over McCarthy.
This is amazing because my article, the final score was 4 to 2-1 in favor of Drake Maye, and yet I'm gonna do against everything I always say. I'm gonna take the mystery box approach here, and I'm gonna go with JJ, even though I know that's probably the wrong answer. I think this is a case where if you want the safer, smarter pick, Drake Maye is probably your bet. But if you want to argue the upside here and just gamble, I think I'm going JJ McCarthy no matter what. So
let's go.
At the end of the day, as painful as it is to agree with Jeremy, I'm going to go with JJ. So.
I like it.
All right. Well, check out what's that?
So tell your process to fuck off. You're like, not the process of this one.
Fuck you, process. I can read. I just don't care. That's called confirmation bias.
It's the ayahuasca seeping in is what it is.
It happens. So. All right. If you want to see the full write-up of this or any of our rookie sneak peeks or profiles or our pick series, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Check us out anywhere on social media through any of our 3 accounts here. We also have SC at the PPR show or the Fantasy Football Universe itself. Thank you all for tuning in. Feel free to rate, review, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And we will see you next time with Keon Coleman, Xavier Legette, I believe. Thank you all. Take care and have a great day.